Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jayo Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parvajakacharya Astar Sata Sri Srimad His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai ISKCON Founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai Gaur Premananda, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to Sri Sri Guru and Gauranga, glories to Srila Prabhupada. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 10, Chapter 2, Prayers by the Demigods, Text 29. Bibarshi, Rupani, Avabodha, Atma, Chemaya, Lokasya, Charachasya, Sattvopapanani Sukhavahani Satam Abhadrani Muhu Kalanam Bibarshi Rupanya Vabodha Atma Shemaya Lokasya Characharasya Sattvopapanani Sukhavahani Satamabhadrani Mahukalana Bibarshi Rupanya Vabodha Atma Chemaya Lokasya Characharasya Sattvopapanani Sukhavahani Satamabhadrani Mahukalana Bibarshi Rupanya Vabodha Atma Chemaya Lokasya Characharasya Sattvopapanani Sukhavahani Satamabhadrani Mahukalana Bibarshi Rupanya Vabodha Atma Shemaya Lokasya Characharasya Sattvopapanani Sukhavahani Satamabhadrani Mahukalana Bibarshi Rupanya Vabodha Atma Chemaya Lokasya Characharasya Sattva Papani Sukhavani Sattva Mahukala Adivibani Abhiboda Atma Semaya Lokasya Charatarasya Sukhavani Sukhavani Satama Bhadrani Mahukalana. Vaishnavis. Vivarshi Yamani Adibodhatma Yatracharasya Sadvopapanani Sukhavani Satama Bhadrani Mahukalana Vibharshi Rupanya Vibodhatma Himaya Lokasya Charatarasya Sattvopapanani Sukhavani Satama Bhadrani Mahukalana Vibharshi Rupanya Vibodhatma Semaya Lokasya Charatarasya Sattvopapanani Sukhavani Satama Bhadrani Mahukalana Vibharshi, you accept. Rupani, varieties of forms, such as Matsya, Kurma, Varaha, Rama, and the Shringha. Avabodha Atma, in spite of having different incarnations, you remain the Supreme, full of knowledge. Chemaya, for the benefit of everyone, and especially the devotees. Lokasya, of all living entities. Chara acharasya, moving and non-moving. Sattva upapanani, all such incarnations are transcendental. Shuddha sattva. Sukha avahani, full of transcendental bliss. Satam, of the devotees. Abhadrani, all inauspiciousness or annihilation. Muhu, again and again. Kalanam, of the non-devotees. Translation purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. O Lord, you are always in full knowledge, and to bring all good fortune to all living entities, you appear in different incarnations, all of them transcendental to the material creation. When you appear in these incarnations, you are pleasing to the pious and religious devotees, but for the non-devotees, you are the annihilator. Please repeat. O Lord, you are always in full knowledge, and to bring all good fortune to all living entities. You appear in different incarnations, all of them transcendental to the material creation. When you appear in these incarnations, you are pleasing to the pious and religious devotees. But for non-devotees, you are the annihilator. Purport. This verse explains why the Supreme Personality of Godhead appears as an incarnation again and again. The incarnations of the Supreme Personality of Godhead all function differently, but their main purpose is paritranaya sadhunam vinashaya chadushkritam, to protect the devotees and annihilate the miscreants. Yet, even though the dushkritis or miscreants are annihilated, this is ultimately good for them. Om Jnana Timirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaur Bhaktavinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So here, in this verse, the Lord is being described as the annihilator of the demons. We see that in many of his incarnations, the Supreme Personality of Godhead is killing different demoniac entities, personalities. And what does it mean, killing? We first have to understand the difference between the soul and the body. Dehinosmin yata dehe kaumaram yovanam jara. Tata dehantara prapti diras tatra namuyante. An intelligent person will see that the conscious self, the Atma, the soul, is different than the material body. You know, the material body is a vehicle for the eternal soul. And of the soul, Krishna explains in the Bhagavad Gita, Najayate mriyate va kadachin. For the soul, there is never any birth or death. So the body is subject to birth and death. So what does it mean, killing? Well, it means that you put the body in a condition, usually through some kind of violence, where it's no longer able to serve as a vehicle for the soul that was in it, and the soul has to go somewhere else. Of course, Krishna has set up the whole material creation in such a way that the soul has to leave the material body. There is, Janma Mrityu Jara Vyadhi Dukkha Dosh Anudarshanam. Krishna explains in the Bhagavad Gita, intelligent person will see, yes, in this material world there is birth, death, old age, and disease. So that means that the soul, which is by nature eternal, cannot exist permanently in a material body. That material body is temporary. And because the soul identifies with the material body, it thinks when the body dies, I am dying, which is not ultimately the case, but it seems like that if the soul by false ego identifies with the material body. So just by the way Krishna has arranged the material world, all material bodies are being killed in a sense. Krishna is the annihilator of them through the force of time. Kalosmi lokachaya krit. Time I am, destroyer of the worlds. So, just as part of the natural course of things in the material world, material bodies are constantly being destroyed through the forces of time. But then there's this other type of destruction, this voluntary destruction of the material body of another living entity caused by the activities of another living entity. If one uses violence to put an end to the material body that's serving as a vehicle for a conditioned soul, that is not necessarily good. Of course, it's going on all the time in the material world. In the human society, sometimes there are big wars that go on where vast numbers of people are engaging in the business of killing. In other words, stopping the activities of the material bodies of the soldiers who are considered to be of the category of enemy. In the material world, people divide themselves into different groups: friends, enemies, neutral parties. So that goes on. And even when Krishna comes to this material world, as he does from time to time in different incarnations, he engages also in this activity. So in human society, some distinction is made, between legal and illegal killing. If somebody, for some selfish purpose, deprives another human being of life, that is considered to be murder. And sometimes in human society there are human beings who are part of the government, police or military, and they have a legal right in some cases to engage in violence and in some cases kill somebody. Just like yesterday at UCLA, there was an incident, where one human being killed another. Some student killed one professor. Of course, in the beginning, they didn't know that that was what happened. They thought it might be some big terrorist event. So they sent thousands of armed police with rifles, and, their SWAT teams, all their armed police officials, to protect, the campus. They were looking for what they called active shooter. In other words, somebody that was going around depriving other human beings of the use of their material bodies. And they would have had a right to shoot that person to stop it. So it's a big topic. But in this verse, we're learning that the Lord also engages in such activity. Actually, the reason why Krishna was called to earth was that Mother Bhumi was very upset about the huge levels of demoniac military forces that were building up on the earth. So that's one reason why Krishna comes. Yada yada hi dharmasya glanir bhavati bharata abhutanam hi dharmasya tadatmanam srajamyaham. When the forces of religion, of true spirituality, are in decline, and the forces of irreligion, the demoniac forces, are increasing in their influence, then Krishna comes to set things right. And how does he do it? Paritranaya sadhunam vinashaya chudushkritam. By protecting the sadhus, the devotees, the pious people, and vinashaya chudushkritam, annihilating the demoniac. So this happens from time to time. In Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna says, Evam para para praptam imam rajarshayo viduhu sakalena mahata yoga nashta parantapa. You know, Krishna establishes in this material world a disciplic succession to give people knowledge that really what you are is your eternal servants of Krishna. Mamaivam so jiva loke, jiva bhuta sanatana, manashastan indriyani, prakritishtani karshati. Every conscious self in this material world is a fragmental part of God. They're not God, but they have a godly nature. God is infinitely great. They are infinitesimal parts and parcels of God. That is the real identity of all living things. So that means, as I was saying on a radio show the other night, you know, from time to time I get called upon to give interviews for radio shows that deal with various interesting topics. And I said to them, as conscious beings, we're all extraterrestrials. You know, many people in this world today are very interested in the topic of extraterrestrial beings, people from other planets. So I tell them we're all extraterrestrials. As spirit souls, none of us are from this terrestrial earth. We're from ultimately the spiritual world, but we've forgotten our eternal relationship with the Supreme Conscious Being, and therefore, as Krishna says, Prakritishtani karshati, manasashtan indriyani prakritishtani karshati. Now we find ourselves in the world of matter, entangled with a body made of the mind and the senses, and we're struggling in so many different ways. And sometimes in that struggle against birth, death, old age, and disease, we increase the suffering by engaging in unlawful violence against each other. So when that happens, Krishna comes and tries to set things right by protecting the pious and annihilating the demons. But as Srila Prabhupada says here, yet even though the Dushkritis or miscreants are annihilated, this is ultimately good for them. So Krishna is not motivated in any envious or selfish or vindictive way. He's acting for the good of everyone, ultimately, even for the good of those who are the Dushkritis or the demoniac who are annihilated. And we see that in Krishna's pastimes. You For example, we could look at the case of Putana. So Putana was a Rakshashi, a demoness, and she was in the employ of Kamsa. And Kamsa, influenced by demoniac mentality, was afraid he was going to be killed by an incarnation of Vishnu. He had heard by some prophecy that he would be killed by the 8th child of Devaki. So he tried to forestall that. And one way he tried to do that was by sending this demoness, this witch, Putana, around the countryside, killing all infants that had recently been born. So by her mystic power, she was flying here and there through outer space, Srila Prabhupada said, by her mystic power. And Srila Prabhupada comments on this, that to this day in India, there are still women, witches, who have these powers and can get on a stick and fly anywhere they want to by their mystic power and engage in their nefarious activities. So she was doing that. She was killing infant children all over the area around Vrindavan and Mathura. So she wasn't a very nice person. She was putting an end to the lives of these children. So she came to Gokula, the residence of Nanda Maharaj, and she went into his palace. And because she had taken the form of a very beautiful woman, she was attracting the minds of all the residents of Vrindavan, of Gokula. In the verse, it's stated, especially the men. So she went through the different rooms of the palace. There was some function going on. And because she was so attractive, because she was so beautiful, she was nobody questioned her. If she'd come in her form as a witch, a demoness, then of course she wouldn't have been allowed in. Everybody would have raised the alarm. But because she was in the form of this attractive woman, she was able to go everywhere freely. So she went into the room where child Krishna was lying on his bed, and she could tell, oh, I think this is a very powerful child. This is probably who Kamsa was really concerned about. So she began to execute her plan to kill this child. She had put poison on the nipples of her breasts. So what she did is she picked the child up, and pretended, oh, such a nice baby, maybe you're a little hungry, you should nurse now. And Yashoda, Mother Yashoda, and Rohini, the mother of Balaram, they were watching this, and they were just thinking, oh, isn't this nice? This nice lady, she's behaving in a very nice way to Krishna. She's going to serve as his nursemaid. And they didn't object. But child Krishna knew what was going on, and when he was offered the breast to suckle at, he bit in and sucked out the life air of this demon, killing her. And when he did that, she assumed her form, her real form, as a demoness, as a Rakshasi. And it was a huge form, and it extended over quite an area of Vrindavan. And after some time, the cowherd men, they, cut up the body in different pieces and burned it, because this was the custom. Like if there's some, like a snake, for example, if it's very venomous and it's very dangerous, and a snake bite can kill you. So if they catch a snake and kill it, a poisonous snake, Srila Prabhupada explained, they cut it up into pieces and they burn it so it won't become active again. Sometimes that happens. Sometimes you see it in different monster movies, Godzilla or whatever, they kill it, but then it gets up again. So they cut it up in pieces, cut the body in pieces and burn them. But the scent from this burning body of this demoness was like a guru incense, because having been killed by Krishna, there was some benefit. And it's actually stated that Putana, the soul who had been occupying the body of this demoness, got a position in Goloka Vrindavan as a nursemaid, an assistant of Mother Yashoda. So, this is an example of what Srila Prabhupada is speaking about in this purport when he says, yet even though the Dushkritis or miscreants are annihilated, this is ultimately good for them. Of course, Krishna killed so many other, through his potencies, sometimes our acharyas discuss, it's not Krishna in his Krishna form who's killing, but within Krishna are all his other incarnations, his Narayan form, his Vishnu form, who engage in these activities. But sometimes Srila Prabhupada presents it quite simply as, yes, Krishna killed these different demons. And then when he left Vrindavan, he killed various demoniac kings. He engaged in the battle of Kurukshetra, where he didn't directly kill soldiers on the opposing side. He was serving as the chariot driver of Arjuna, but it was by his arrangement as the Supreme Personality of Godhead that this huge battle took place, and that all these soldiers were killed. But it was said that those soldiers that were killed who had seen the form of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Krishna, they got liberation. So sometimes when Krishna directly is involved in the annihilating of these Dushkritis or miscreants, they get some benefit, they get some liberation. Of course, Krishna can also arrange. Chipami, in the Bhagavad Gita, he says, Chipami just, what is it? Chipami Ashubham. Yeah. So he says, some demons he sends into demoniac species of life. So that can also happen. It's all up to the will of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. In his form as Lord Chaitanya, the Lord doesn't engage in this annihilating activity, this killing activity. He was thinking about it once. I think there's a painting up here with Jagai and Madhai. They had attacked Lord Nityananda and Haridas Thakur when they were engaged in the Lord's service in the Sankirtan mission. And he became angry, and he was going to use his Sudarshan chakra to dispatch them. But Lord Nityananda told him, no. In this incarnation, if you start engaging in such activity, you'll have to kill everybody, because in the age of Kali, everybody is demoniac. So it's said that in this age, instead of annihilating the miscreants, the Lord tries to annihilate the demoniac mentality in the hearts of the living entities through his Sankirtan movement. Yagyai Sankirtana Prayar Yajanti Hi Sumeda Saha. So, we are participating in that Sankirtan movement, and our business is to chant the holy name of the Lord. The Lord is non-different from his holy name. So we're asking the Lord in the form of his holy name to enter our hearts and remove whatever demoniac tendencies are there. So Srila Prabhupada was in England once, and Shyamasundar Prabhu, his secretary, was bringing various important personalities over to see him, even some members of the House of Lords and different aristocratic people and scientists and scholars. And Srila Prabhupada, he was there once with Shyamasundar and George Harrison. And he said, Shyamasundar, I would like to start a new society here in England. I'm going to call it the Society for Sinless Men. And George Harrison said, oh, it sounds like a good idea, but you might get only a very few members. And Shyamasundar said to Srila Prabhupada, well, maybe many people will try to join. They'll all say I'm sinless, but they won't understand what the real qualification is. But Srila Prabhupada said, actually, that's the purpose of our International Society for Krishna Consciousness. Said, because unless one is sinless, one cannot actually perceive the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Said, just like to enter fire, you have to become of fiery quality. So ultimately, that's what Krishna is trying to do in this world. Support those who are trying to become sinless, the devotees of the Lord, and annihilate those who are promoting sinful activities as defined in the Vedic scriptures. So, I'll stop there. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai.